This is Nigeria Today on TVC News. Welcome. We'll begin in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, where the federal government says preliminary report has shown that the recent attack on the Kaduna-Abuja train is a collaboration between dislodged Boko Haram terrorists in the northeast and bandits operating in the forests of the northwest. Minister of Information Lai Mohammed revealed this at the end of the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari. TVC News State House correspondent Femi Akonde reports.
Lai Mohammed says plans and efforts of the military in fighting terrorism will not be a subject matter of a press conference. But it is not surprising that memos presented by the Ministry of Defense got the approval of the Federal Executive Council. Contracts have been awarded for the purchase of brand new vehicles to transport cargoes and troops to operational areas. The federal government suspects the recent attack on an Abuja-bound train on the Kaduna-Abuja rail line is a collaboration between bandits and Boko Haram terrorists, but insists the efforts of service chiefs will soon unravel those involved in the attack.
Honestly, I think the security chiefs are working hard to unveil those who are involved, and I will tell you very soon the people that are carrying out these activities. What is really going on, and our efforts to ensure that all these activities are stopped once and for all. We're really on top of the situation. We're planning hard, and we'll get to them as soon as possible.
Preliminary reports of what transpired at the Kaduna train attack shows that there's been a kind of collaboration between the bandits and the dislodged Boko Haram fighters from the northeast. But overall, I can tell you very confidently that the very government is on top of this matter.
The power sector is still reeling from the effect of the national grid collapse. The Minister of Power also agrees that the frequent attack on power infrastructure in the country is a deliberate economic sabotage that will not be allowed to fester.
So we need to also work together as a nation to support the leadership, to support the government, to face these challenges together.
The Federal Executive Council also approved a memo for the reconstruction of Pategi Water Project in Kwara State, and the Ministry of Science and Technology also got approval for 2 memos presented at the Federal Executive Council. Now there are fresh expectations that the approval gotten by the Ministry of Defense will enhance the operations of the country's military and improve the offensive against terrorists and bandits. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
The House of Representatives has renewed its call on President Muhammadu Buhari to declare a state of emergency on the nation's security situation. Lawmakers insist Nigeria is under siege and should seek help before it is too late. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa reports.
Almighty God, creator and ruler of heaven and earth,
motions on insecurity from virtually every part of the country have become regular on legislative days here. On this day, 2 motions detailed the indiscriminate killings, rape, kidnapping, and destruction of property in Plateau and Benue states.
Nigerians are being killed on a daily basis, Mr. Speaker. The 4 angles of Nigeria, nowhere is safe. Mr. Speaker, what is beating my imagination more, aside of the killing, is who is responsible, not in terms of the people that are committing those atrocities. Nigerian governments have come out in different occasions to say they know them.
This matter has created fears among our constituents, and it poses grave danger in many ways, which could include negative reactions from our constituents.
It is a display of emotion, anger, and frustration as members contribute to the 2 motions. They accuse some of the security agents of aiding and abetting bandits and renew calls for the sack of the National Security Advisor and the Minister of Defense.
It is so sad that we have come to a situation in this country where evil is perpetrated and no one is held accountable.
We have cases where we understand that information were passed to the security personnel, and still these terrorists overcome the ordinary Nigerian people. This is a failed state.
The executive headed by Mr. President must know that Benue, our lives matter. We come here and we cry, and today again, Benue is bleeding.
I don't know what argument anybody can give to insulate the security agencies in terms of doing their duty to ensure that this thing does not happen.
The House seeks relief materials for displaced persons and urges the presence of Joint Security Task Force in affected areas.
As part of solutions to the increasing wave of insecurity in the country, the legislators urged President Muhammadu Buhari to immediately invoke Section 83, subsection 1 of the Constitution for the release of contingency fund to enable the country that the services of mercenaries. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.
Also talking security, another attack has occurred in Anambra State. This time, 4 police personnel lost their lives earlier today after gunmen attacked a police station in Atani, headquarters of Ogbaru local government area. TVC News gathered that the gunmen arrived at the area at about 1:30 a.m. and immediately launched an attack on the police facility. The command spokesperson, DSP Tochukwu Ikenga, who later confirmed the attack to TVC News in a telephone conversation, said the State Police Commissioner, Echeng, immediately mobilized men from various units to the area upon getting news of the attack. From Anambra to Zamfara State, where 5 female students of the State College of Health, SAFE, were abducted from their residence by unknown gunmen in the early hours of Wednesday. One of the kidnapped students, however, escaped from her captors a few hours after abduction and returned to the community. The provost of the college, Yusuf Idris, who confirmed the incident, said the student sustained injuries and is receiving medical attention at the Safe General Hospital. Police authorities in the state also confirmed the incident with a promise to ensure the safe rescue of the victims. Spokesperson of the command, Mohammed Shehu, says troops have been deployed to the affected areas to restore normalcy. The Nigerian Army is warning imposters to desist from wearing its uniform or risk arrest and prosecution. The General Officer commanding 81 Division Nigerian Army, Major General Umar Musa, gave the warning in Lagos. Senior correspondent Ivy Kanu reports.
Most times, the public has come in contact with individuals believed to be seen wearing army uniforms and displaying questionable behaviors.
We are not arrested in a day at different places on different occasions.
The army says such people are not their main. The 81 Division has distanced themselves from such as they paraded these 12 imposters arrested in both Ogun and Lagos State. According to the GOC, over 100 imposters have been arrested by his main.
We have arrested about 150. The ones you see, the 12 now, are the ones we have finished investigating. Because before we forward to Nigerian police, we try to investigate them to get the sources of the uniforms and who made the ID card for them, so that we'll be able to nip the issue at the board. Because if you get the sellers or the provider of the uniform, sometimes it goes a long way in preventing people to wear them.
He solicited for information that will help the division's Operation Checkmate in helping rid the zone of those he described as unscrupulous elements.
Operation Checkmate is a Nigerian Army surveillance activity on the conduct of our troops outside the barracks. So in the course of monitoring the activity of our soldiers outside, we come across these suspects, the impersonators. So the Operation Checkmate is not only for arresting imposters. It's also, if you notice, also in Lagos and Ogun State, we have been arresting, including civilians who were not only wearing uniform, but anybody who displays military banner and accoutrement, such as jungle hats, pickup, belt, koboko, and the rest.
He described as sad the refusal of criminals to change.
Anybody who is seen with painted army color vehicle, we arrest it and impound it. The law is there, and specify the use of this olive green color for vehicle to be used by only military.
Ivy Kano, TVC News, Lagos.
At least 21 persons died in boat mishap in Sokoto State. We'll have details of that story and more after this break. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. In Sokoto State now, 21 persons have been confirmed dead following a boat mishap at Magana in Dadimaye district of Shigari local government area. The state deputy governor, Muhammad Emmanuel Daniel, was part of the Muslim faithful that participated in the Janaiz prayers for the deceased. The boat was said to have carried 35 passengers. 29 of the passengers, comprising of 23 women and 6 men, lost their lives, as 6 persons survived the unfortunate incident. No official statement has been released by the authorities, but the chairman, Shagari local government area, Aliyu Dantani, had earlier informed journalists that rescue operation was ongoing. Now to Lagos, where the state governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has reaffirmed his commitment to developing home movies production in the state. He made this pledge during the presentation of checks to the first batch of beneficiaries in the zero-interest loan to movie practitioners. There is more in this report.
Over the years, Nollywood has grown to more than ₦1 billion industry, accounting for over 1.4% growth of the Nigerian economy. But the part of the challenges facing the creative industry is in its funding. On this backdrop, the Lagos State government, through the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, introduced the Lagos Film Fund. It is an initiative aimed at providing interest-free loan to filmmakers. It is an initiative aimed at providing interest-free loans to filmmakers, and here are the first batch of beneficiaries. For the Lagos State government, this is a promise kept.
Today we are presenting the check for the beneficiary of the Lagos Film Fund. And this is what we are doing today to ensure that we present this check to them and appeal and advise them to make proper use of this fund, because it's a revolving loan, so that we won't shut the door to other people that need to access this fund.
Administration has as its 5th pillar of the theme's agenda, entertainment and tourism. We're poised to deliver on this. We're poised to support those in the creative industry, and this is what we're doing here today.
Some of the beneficiaries lauded the gesture, especially following the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the creative industry.
The importance of this is that the state government has injected funds into the industry, into the film industry. It's something that is very much needed.
For the first time in Lagos State, we are getting this kind of support for the film industry.
Yes, it is a loan, but interest-free loan. If you know that what that means, it goes a way forward to improve on our creativity.
Presentation of the checks to these beneficiaries will help contribute to the growth of the industry in the state, as well as the gross domestic product, GDP, of the country.
Now to politics. A coalition of pan-Yoruba and civil society groups, Alliance for Yoruba Democratic Movement, has unveiled a campaign to generate 40 million voters in the southwest region. They also promised to involve all Yorubas in Kwara and Kogi states in the north-central geopolitical zone in the electoral process to vote in a particular direction in the 2023 polls. Correspondent Ademola Lawrence reports.
Gathered here are artisans, marketmen and women, community and religious leaders from different southwestern states in Nigeria. The aim is to create awareness and campaign to end voter apathy in the region with the 2023 election in focus.
Your PVC is
your power.
The coalition said the initiative was driven by the quest to explore the political strengths of the Yoruba nation and to show that the region was capable of influencing the country's electoral outcome, considering its numerical strengths.
In here, roadside mechanics, artisans, cobblers, lowly people, high people, middle class, professionals, fishermen from the valleys of Yoruba land, from the mountains, from the riverine areas, to come together as community organizations to seize their destiny and put it in their hands and determine their future. Because if we don't do that, if people don't have hope, that's what gives room to violence. That's what gives to people taking laws into their hand.
The group pointed out that in the 1980s, the Southwest produced millions of voters, but the figures have continued to diminish, adding that the underestimation of the Southwest voting strength is partly responsible for the inability of the people to take over power and run the country.
The Yoruba nation is capable of reigniting its old method with which it was capable of mobilizing its people to vote for people of their choice to govern them for a particular period of time. And that's what they intended doing this time around. They said they will not allow politicians to do it because they have failed in that endeavor.
They lamented that in 2015 elections, less than 20% of eligible voters in the region registered, which dropped to 18% in 2019, while the number of eligible voters was about 17%.
Democracy to thrive, then you have to encourage more people, men, women, youths, to come out, to identify with the political process as well as the evolving democratic structure. For any electoral process, you must have a multiplicity of people that will come out, and then we subject everybody to analysis, and then we go for elections.
For this movement, they say this is a clarion call to all Yorubas across the Southwest states to mobilize and organize to turn out 40 million votes to show strength and potentials in the upcoming election. Ademola Lawrence, TVC News, Lagos.
Akwa Ibom State Governor Emmanuel has been commended for his achievements in the past 7 years since he assumed office by members of the PDP caucus in the Senate and House of Representatives. The presidential hopeful, who met separately with the federal lawmakers in Abuja, said his decision to throw his hat in the ring was in response to the call of ordinary Nigerians.
2023 general election may be months away, with several people signifying interest to contest for the #1 position in the country. Most of the aspirants have been going around consulting with stakeholders with the hope of getting their nod. One of such is the Akwa Ibom State Governor, Emmanuel. On meeting with the PDP caucus in the Senate, he said his decision comes from calls by a media organization urging him to run during his appearance on their radio program. Governor Emmanuel said listeners to that media interview contributed money and purchased the presidential nomination forms. He told the lawmakers he has the capacity to make Nigeria safe, peaceful, attract investments, and become economically vibrant.
The only group of people that can rescue Nigeria tomorrow are the professionals in politics. Those who are professionals, those who understand the language of economy, those who understand the language of money, and those at the same time who have managed resources. And those who have also paid dividends from both ends, both private and public. If you come to public, there's dividends of democracy. You can show evidence is there. Here we have.
The senators appreciated him for the level of infrastructural development and industrialization in the state.
I have no doubt that this man will duplicate what he has done in Akwa Ibom State better.
I remember when I was the minority leader that you supported the National Assembly. The party is what binds all of us together. And respect must be mutual.
I know they are.
Governor Emmanuel also met with members of the PDP caucus in the House of Representatives. He told them his mission and why Nigeria needs him at this critical time.
Is that we don't have leaders who can create money. And when you don't know how to create money, you can't manage an economy. I think we've reached that point where some of us needed to stand up and say it is enough. Our people.
The lawmakers used the opportunity to lobby for extension of air services to their states.
You have never failed to recognize members. That clearly shows that you have respect for that institution called the parliament.
Lawmakers who were full of adulation afterwards asked Governor Emmanuel to take a bow as they applauded him.
In other news, over 4 billion naira has been received by beneficiaries of federal government National Cash Transfer Program in Osun State since 2016. Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Social Intervention Programs, Lukman Bello, was addressing participants at the opening of a 2-day workshop for field officers of the program. TVC News correspondent Rafiu Hamid reports.
These are local government workers from the 30 local governments that make up the state. They are the field officers of the National Cash Transfer Program of the federal government, undergoing training on the newly developed application to be used to monitor the households beneficiaries of the money at various communities. For this program with 4 components, Osun State chose health as area of concern, and beneficiaries who are mostly children under 5 years, pregnant women and lactating mothers are to ensure compliance to attendance at health centers to improve their health as criteria to receive their monthly pay.
So for instance, for the children 0 to 5, they have to see their immunization cards, scan it, and send it to the server, and that will make them to be eligible for top-up payment. That is why we're here. We have been using applications for the program before, but this one is a new one that now consists all the components.
There are 15,562 beneficiaries of the program across the state. Some receive 5,000 naira monthly, while some get 10,000 naira. The Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Social Intervention admonished the participants to discharge their duties at their various local governments diligently.
As custodians of the beneficiaries of consumer cash transfer in Osun, 15,562, they should remain diligent. They should be trustworthy. They shouldn't engage in acts that will tarnish their image. They have not been doing that in the past. Thank God for the life of our beneficiary, of our officers. They have not been doing that in the past. I want them to continue.
The participants are expected to go back to their areas with the knowledge acquired about the application in order to improve the cash transfer program.
Everything is included in the particular application. It's a very nice one. It will make delivery of our services in this particular, in the aspect of the conditional cash transfer program, to be very easy, and we'll be able to accomplish this task with ease.
This one is being designed by the vendor throughout the nation for the app to monitor their compliance so that they will be able to pay them on a bi-monthly basis that we're doing.
124 people are attending the workshop, which will end on Thursday. Rafiu Hamid, TVC News, Osogbo.
Well, that